Hello, Asterisk here for what could be the biggest update Vanguard JP has ever had. Uh, yeah, this is Vanguard JP, by the way. I'm not currently playing Vanguard JP or anything. This is the English version, but this is applying to the JP version, which in turn means it will end up applying to us, the global players, in a few months' time. I just want to make sure that everyone's on the same page there, so that people don't load up the global version expecting this change to be implemented. Okay, big news. Before we get into that, big news, and then we're immediately segueing into something else. Don't worry, it's important. Pay attention. So, okay, let's just quickly recap. In ranked fights, you would get 2000 VP whether you won or lost a rank fight. We know this, right? And you'd want to gain a lot of VP because you gain items, mainly Ganch tickets. In fact, potentially infinite Ganch tickets. If you got enough VP per season, because you get one every 100,000 VP after 1.2 million. So, like, as you can see here on the screen here, you get a lot of Ganch tickets for grinding. Now, I'm sure the Bushiroad meant this as a well-meaning thing. We're gonna, reward players just for playing the game a lot, right? If you play it a lot, so much so that you get a ridiculous amount of VP, you get extra Ganch tickets. That sounds good on paper. Also, there's another thing where, like I said, you get 2000 VP whether you win or lose ranked fights. This was their way of kind of cushioning the blow from losses and making sure that even people who aren't good at the game have a reason to keep playing, so they still gain VP anyway, even if they lose. It's a cool way of encouraging people to play and get out of their comfort zone a bit, because getting new players to actually try out ranked mode is quite the uphill battle. So those two mechanics on their own separate sound cool. You're encouraging new players who maybe don't have the confidence to play ranked mode by giving the losers something worthwhile anyway. And you're encouraging people to keep playing the game a lot by giving them a lot of Ganch tickets, and Ganch tickets are extremely valuable. The problem, as we've all figured out by now, is that these two mechanics together basically made it so that the easiest and most efficient way of getting a lot of packs in this card game is to not play the game. Yeah, Bushiroad, maybe you should have thought that one out a bit better. Yeah, basically, by using various tools such as an autoclicker, or you don't even have to use an autoclicker, you can just do it manually. Basically, the idea of VP farming is to play the game a bunch, but not actually do anything. You're effectively trying to speed up the card fight as fast as possible by not doing anything and letting your opponent kill you immediately. And if you are using an autoclicker, you can kind of just, leave the game running even while you're not actually playing it, so that it can just keep ranking up VP because you get VP for losing. And so the most efficient way of actually getting all the packs in the world and the people with the most packs weren't actually the people playing the game. And we've talked about this before, right? In fact, I put out a video incredibly recently where I do touch upon this. So we're not here to do that. Instead, we're here to talk about the changes. So yes, that's all stuff that we already know. This is the current state of Vanguard Zero Global. This is all stuff that we're familiar with. So what is the new change in JP that I've been alluding to? So the first one is that your VP in ranked mode fights are now calculated based on damage. You get 500 VP for each damage you do to your opponent, or at least the amount of cards in their damage zone. So if you win, you get 3,000. You get 3,000 VP, which is more than the 2,000 that we currently have in global, which is sick. People who can win card fights are getting more VP now than they used to. That's cool. I'm happy with that. But it also means that if you lose, you're not getting the fixed 2,000 anymore. You're getting an amount based on how many damage you do to your opponent. So if your opponent is at 5 damage when they kill you, you get 2.5 thousand VP, which is sick, because even if you lose, there's a potential to actually get more VP than you would have for losing previously as well. But you can see the problem here. The whole point of VP farmers is that they're not really going to do all that much damage. In fact, statistically, the most amount of damage on average a lucky VP farmer gets out on me is 2, right? Because they will send out, they'll have their starter Vanguard, they'll attack, they'll get the really lucky crit, do 2 damage to me, and then I'll immediately place down an intercept, which stops most VP farmers from being able to attack anymore. Especially the autoclickers. I'm sure you've experienced this if you've played Vanguard Zero ranked as well. So because of that, if you're the VP farmer who gets that lucky crit, you will be getting 10,000 VP, much less than the 2,000 you'd usually be getting. And of course, that's if you get lucky enough to do any damage. Sometimes VP farmers fail to do any damage at all. Basically, and the way I like phrasing this, because I feel like everyone, because they made a change to the game, everyone's, they're trying their hardest to have a really big knee-jerk reaction where everyone gets either really, really angry and mad, or they get really, really happy. But I'm happy. And the reason for this is because it's a gentle nudge. That's what I like. Because if you VP farm, you could still get VP, right? You could still get VP for losing. In fact, again, if you make a VP farm deck where you just fill it with nothing but crits, it's very possible for you to actually, do some damage and get some VP. You just aren't getting it as efficiently, which is why I word it as a gentle nudge. I don't think VP farming is 100% dead. I just think it's disincentivized. And you may think, oh, but if a VP farmer is making way less VP, then why even bother? Well, actually, you don't have to make that much VP anymore. So, as we mentioned, we just talked about the VP ladder, right? Where you get a bunch of packs. Well, it's been overhauled. It's been changed. So, the smaller differences include swapping out a lot of the My Room and Premium coins for generic crafting material instead, which is interesting. I feel like I already have a lot of common crafting materials, so I don't really need them to be added to the ranked ladder, but whatever, floats your boat, Bushiroad. I'm not going to lose sleep over it. Another change is, well, actually another thing that hasn't changed, and it's important that it hasn't changed, is that the Sentinel medals exactly the same. So you get 2 a season, 1 for 100,000 and another for 500,000. Another change, this is one of the big ones, is that you get 6 gacha tickets, all fairly evenly spread out across the board, which is a lot less than the amount that's currently here right now. You get quite a lot here. Well, in fact, you technically get infinite if you're including this one. And the last thing is that you can finish the board. Yes, there is no just you get it every time you hit 100,000 VP. No, once you hit 1,000,000, it stops. You've completed the board. But what do you get for completing the board, though? You get a guaranteed triple rare gacha ticket. This is an item that is probably the most desirable item in the game, and because of that, it's been a paid item only up until this point. The only way of getting this item is to pay real money for it. Now they're making it available to free-to-play players by getting 1,000,000 VP and finishing the VP table. This is super interesting because basically, yes, the changes they made to the amount of VP you get for ranked modes mean that VP farmers make far less VP, but the thing is, you don't need as much. You only need 1,000,000. Any more than 1,000,000 is completely useless. It doesn't benefit you. So basically, if you want to grind, you're grinding for the ranks themselves and the ranked rewards, but not VP. And that's really, surprisingly nuanced by Bushiroad. I feel like if you really take the time to look at this, this is kind of a solution that helps everyone. The only downside, personally, right now, is that, yes, you get less gacha tickets. That is kind of a bummer. I really, really liked the amount of gacha tickets you would get from the VP ladder every season. The potentially infinite amount. But the guaranteed triple rare ain't too bad of a consolation for that, actually. I'd definitely take it. And of course, how will this change VP farming? I mean, it's probably going to change it pretty drastically. I feel like less people are going to VP farm now, but I guess we'll see. And that's basically all I have to say. The thing is, we will have to see. This is a brand new announcement. This is breaking news, basically. And so, because of that, we don't know how it'll really shake out in the long term. But I'm glad, and the thing I really want to end with the optimistic message is that Bushiroad are listening. I was expecting Bushiroad to take a very hands-off approach with this. I was expecting them to be like, no guys, you can figure out yourselves. But I like that they've actually taken the time to make a change. And it seems to be a change that's taking everyone's opinions into account. They're not banning VP farmers. They're not making it so you don't make any VP at all for losing. It's just, as I mentioned earlier, a gentle nudge away from VP farming, so that now you're actually playing the game. And you're more likely to find people actually playing the game in Ranked, which makes Ranked more fun. And you're getting a guaranteed triple rare. And you don't even have to grind as much if you care. If you only care about VP. If you care about Ranked, then you still want to grind and play a lot anyway, but you'll actually have some challenging ranked fights to look forward to. It's a more varied gameplay. Basically, I feel like this is a situation where everyone wins, and that feels really weird to say, but I don't know for certain. Like I said, we actually have to see this in action before I know for certain, right? It sounds great on paper, but the thing they currently had right now sounded good on paper to me when it was first announced. I didn't even consider the fact that VP farmers could be a thing, right? So maybe there is an exploit to this I'm not aware of, or maybe it is pretty stingy. I don't know. I think it's fine. I mean, again, I am a little disappointed by the lack of gacha tickets each season. Only 6 is a bit stingy. But then again, that guaranteed triple rare one is pretty good. So I guess even I don't know. Discuss this in the comments. I really more than ever really want to hear what everyone has to say about this, whether that is positive or negative, whether that's coming from someone who always VP farms or never VP farms, and so on and so forth. I don't VP farm, so maybe I don't have the most informed opinion in the world. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it, and the thing about this game is that because it gets frequent updates and everything, if everyone ends up hating this, there's a good chance Bushiroad might revert back anyway. They've now shown that they're listening to fans, so if fans don't like this, then they could always change it back, is another thing to say. And that's also another thing to say. I'll end it by saying that Bushiroad have now proven they listen. And so if you have opinions of this game, make them loud. Make them polite, make them loud. And I'll see you later with some more Vanguard Zero.